were soldiers. Soldiers don't go to hell. It's war. Soldiers, they kill other soldiers. We're in a situation where
Yeah, but the views expressed here
stakes.
are not radio legs.
If you're going to accept those stakes, you got to do certain things.
I run with prophets known to slide on doctrines, we gon' slime them out. The general told us they hit them churches, now we riding out. It's wartime and the bishop signed off on the declaration. They amazed how we move on this word with no hesitation. All that power in the hands of a man come from the king. The Messiah said use it to set my people free. We been starving for too long, but now it's time to eat. We been wanting your head on the platter, but the order was let them be. Ain't no peace in this war, homie, we been saved.
Nobody really knows that the origin of Christmas or the origin of New Year's has its roots in what? Slavery.
Right. What you gon' do about it? Proclaiming liberty to the captives and tell them come out it. Open your mouth about this purple, you in the danger zone. You bring your king, we bring our king, and now we in the Game of Thrones. Bring that drama to our front door and I bet we outside. Load up these Bibles and turn this country to the south side.
Pastor Philly, that's what I'm gonna do. There's a Pastor Philly, don't run. Do not run. Pastor Philly, that's what I'm gonna do. There's a Pastor Philly, don't run. Do not run.
The topic of today again is emotional damage. Emotional damage, yo. Lifetime decisions based off of temporary emotions, all right? So, refresh us, man. Officer Tahan, you was just speaking a second ago. Where we at? What was we talking about, man?
We were talking about the point of how our people, we like to counsel within ourselves. We will listen to our own thoughts and block everyone else out who could potentially help us and help us deal with the emotions that we're going through. You know, but instead of listening to people, we want to act on our own emotions, and those own emotions at the end, they're not always the right emotions.
Right. I pray people are actually listening to the topic. I want y'all to really self-reflect on yourselves and think about how y'all been handling situations in your friendships, your marriage. Shoot, how you deal with your coworkers. I know we think it's all cool to talk to your boss crazy. You be bringing that stuff home too. And then you treat everybody the way you've been treating your boss because you do it so much, it's a habit now. All right? So we're going to get back to this article right quick. It's a lot to go through. We might do a part two, man.
All right, it says living and dwelling inside of your head and closing everyone off makes your thoughts fester. Learn to talk about it. Sometimes time will open your eyes if you keep your mind open in the process.
It says sometimes time. That means, what does that require? Patience. You understand? Sometimes you don't need to speak on something right there and then. Example. Have you ever experienced something with your spouses and you might have been hot? Your wife's moment might not be there. It may be when you calm down. Allow me to calm down and I may be able to take what you're saying later.
Right.
You know, if you speak on it now, you're going to get that lion.
Right. Exactly.
You understand? But if you wait and keep your mind open in the process, meaning meditate on what you could have done better. You understand? Some people be meditating on what you could have did better. You didn't have to talk to me that way.
This is said that right now.
You should have got on the mic and said that. There's somebody thinking that to themselves right now. Well, he didn't have to talk to me that way. He could have did this. He could have did that. Well, how about this? Maybe I could have did this to make sure he wouldn't have reacted that way. Go ahead. Officer Absalom.
Yeah, I got a scripture, man, for that, what you're talking about right now, man, what you've been going into. Sirach chapter 28 and verse 12. Going directly with that. Matter of fact, start at verse 11.
I'll read it. The book of Sirach, chapter 28, verse 12, or verse 11. And hasty contention kindleth a fire.
A hasty contention, a hasty fight, a hasty argument, it kindles a fire. Read.
And in hasty fighting sheddeth blood.
So you get into this hasty contention. Now you get into hasty bloodshed. You're having arguments. You're having fights, right? It talks about it's a fire. What does fire do? Fire eats. It burns more and it grows. It burns. Read.
Verse 12. If thou blow the spark.
If thou do what?
If thou blow the spark.
It says if you blow the spark, what's going to happen?
it shall burn.
It shall burn. So if you continue to blow and add fuel to that fire, it's going to burn. It's going to burn. So this is going into the way that we speak to one another, things that come out of our mouths. Read.
If thou spit upon it,
But if you spit, meaning you be patient, and you don't feed that fire, what will happen?
it shall be quenched.
It shall be what?
It shall be
It
quenched.
can stop. What's the Bible telling us? That we have control over how far we can go in any conversation, in any argument, in any disagreement.
Wait, what did you just say again?
We control it.
So you telling me if something goes on for a week, it's because y'all allowing it to go on for a week?
Oh,
Exactly.
that's right.
Exactly.
He's
Yes.
a willing participant in that.
Exactly. You doing what you want to do.
They said play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Hey, Officer Hezekiah, you had a good scripture. Go ahead and bring it up.
Just real quick, I can read it. It says this is on Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 1.
Bring it
Just
out.
going off what the other officer said. It says, "A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger." So a lot of times, similar to what both officers said, especially when dealing with the woman, a lot of women don't know the power that they have in silence. When you just allow whatever I have going on to just dissipate, and then come later with a soft answer. If you see your husband, or it could be your brother, it could be any man in your life. When you see that anger going on, when you see him rising up, all you got to do is just speak softly to him, and I'm telling you, you're gonna put the fire out.
That's heavy.
Oh man, that's a
heavy.
negative. That's a negative word. Silent, man. It's silent.
Even
What
that
you mean? I
soft.
gotta be silent.
Yeah, I know.
That's what they saying right there.
Silent, hell nah. Or even in the communities, in our hoods, right? You know, that soft answer could save a brother's life. Because the officer mentioned a disagreement, a misunderstanding. How many of our brothers have been put to death because of a disagreement or a misunderstanding?
A hot answer instead of a soft one.
A hot answer instead of a soft one, right? Like that's what this Bible is capable of doing. It's capable of changing the murder rates within our community.
Right.
That sound like a permanent decision. Short-term memory. I mean, short-term emotions, man.
Short-term emotions.
60 seconds turn into a life sentence.
Yep.
Yeah.
Quick.
Turn to
And
25 to life.
the officer mentioned time. Can I get a scripture on that time? Get the Sirach 20, start at verse 6.
Yes, sir.
6 and 8. Just so I don't want to.
The book of Sirach, chapter 20 and verse 6.
Yes.
Some man holdeth his tongue, because he have not to answer.
So some of our people, they'll hold their tongue because they don't know what the answer is, right? If they don't have the answer, then lay your hand over your mouth, right? Read.
And some keepeth silence, knowing his time.
And some people silent. Also bring out, maybe it's not the right time for you to have a response to what I just said. As my wife, it's your time right now is to just listen, right? You don't have to have a response back.
And all praises, our people have a problem with discernment. Knowing when to speak. When you read Ecclesiastes, it says it's a time for everything,
Yes.
right? And our people don't know. Hey, sometimes now's not the time to address this issue. This a person's heated. I know when I get off work, I come home. I don't want to hear about the problems
Right.
that's been going on. Let me kick off my shoes.
Right.
Stretch my toes a little bit. I eat my meal. We can talk.
Right.
But then when I come in, you jump on me. Guess what? I'm going to react.
I got work fresh on my mind and everything.
Yeah.
else, man.
Stressed out
Yeah.
by the managers, everything.
Yeah.
That's because people
That
don't see
also
it.
goes in like with men in authority as well, because as black people, or any people really, we don't really necessarily see authoritative figures very well. So you will have somebody over you, like you said earlier, your boss, your manager, your supervisor, whoever, and you think you got to respond to the person who can really say you fired, and you right back to square one again. But just speaking on authority, that soft answer or those silent words, knowing when to speak, that goes with your brothers as well. That goes with your brothers.
That's a hell of a point, though. But one of the reasons why, you have some people that just don't care at all. But you know the reasons why most people don't talk. They don't have overreactions when they deal with somebody in authority. It's because sentence against evil works are executed speedily. So that same respect, let's say for your spouse, that they may have for their supervisors, their bosses, so on and so forth, they will not react in a certain way because they understand
The consequences.
that there is accountability to be had right after you do it.
Yes.
But there's a lack of accountability, not just in our communities, our respective communities, Lexington community, but all across the world. There's a mass lack of accountability across the globe at this present moment. And it's who's going to rise up and put that accountability back in the earth? Who's going to stand up? Hey, you know what? You can't talk like that. Why do you? I'm not going to justify you and soup you up when you acting crazy. I'm going to tell you about yourself. Why are you acting like that? I think you overreacted. Who gonna stand there and tell that person that?
Right.
I'm not. That sister, you call that one sister when you and your husband just got in about, and you tell them talking about your husband. Which one of your sister friends is gonna tell you, hey, look, I'm actually tired of hearing about y'all marriage. When you gonna get yourself together?
Right. Quit coddling people.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
And tell them the truth. Make them responsible for their actions. That's not what grown people do. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's time you stop having 2-year-old temper tantrums and act like the grown man or woman that you are. We have to start having those talks with our people and quit being their. Well, actually, you are being their friend if you tell them the truth.
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.
And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. His word